So you want to tell me that America is over, all hope is lost, we're cooked. What just happened yesterday in New York City? It is impossible to overstate the significance of Zoran Mamdani winning against Andrew Cuomo in the New York City mayoral primary yesterday. If you're one of those doomers who's thrown up your hands and said, there's nothing we can do, America is a fascist state now, the Trumpers have won, all hope is lost, it's the apocalypse, everything's over. What happened in New York City yesterday shows that you could not be more wrong. Now, in particular, as somebody who has to hold my nose and vote Democrat, even though the candidates are never progressive enough for me, even though as an anti-capitalist, I am perennially frustrated, enraged with corporate Democrats who prioritize the special interests that fund their campaigns, be they foreign governments, be they corporations, over crafting policy and creating a government that actually provides a good quality of life and functions for the American people. For me, what happened in New York City yesterday with Mamdani, a young, dynamic, democratic socialist, winning over an incredibly wealthy, corrupt corporate Democrat with billions and billions of funding behind him. Billionaires, CEOs, corporations, all backing a candidate from a political dynasty who could not be any more the depiction of a corporate establishment Democrat, including the fact that he was a serial sexual harasser. I mean, Letitia James, the Attorney General for New York, found that he sexually harassed at least 11 women. And yet people were willing to back him. Big money was willing to back him for the New York mayor's race. And we're living in a time where fascism is on the rise, where Trump is doing all kinds of horrible things, illegal things to dismantle democracy. And the establishment corporate Democrats are doing fuck all to stand up against it. We're seeing young progressives who are fighting very hard and getting very little support, and in fact being hampered by the leaders of their own party. And at that moment in time, to see somebody who is a serial sexual harasser, who is from a powerful political family, be presented as kind of like this inevitability. Like, of course he's going to win the New York mayor's race. He's a household name in New York. He has all this money behind him. He's an establishment Democrat. With just the complete tone deafness to the corruption and the fact that he's like a sex pest, basically. Not basically, that's an accurate term to describe him. Obviously, I live all the way across the country in Portland, Oregon, but I was watching the New York City mayor's primary like a hawk because we saw a young, dynamic, democratic socialist who had a compelling message for the people. He's speaking right into the needs and concerns of the working class. And it felt like what we were watching in New York was a microcosm of what was playing out on the national stage, where the establishment Democrats had lost us the Senate, the House. They were unable to win the presidency, and they're just like losers, big L, over and over and over again, losers. And yet we're watching the same old white dudes who control the party say things like, oh, we don't need to really move on this. We just need to wait until the midterms. And then we'll just have more of the same. We'll have more of the establishment Democrats who are beholden to the oligarchs, to corporations, the same way that Republicans are. And they're going to pretend that they have a compelling message that somehow differentiates them from the fascists, from the party that supports oligarchy. They think that the American people are going to want to vote for the Democrats, the loser, loser, loser party, who doesn't offer something substantively different than what the Republicans are doing. And they think that that's going to be a win for them in the midterm. So I actually have a significant amount of empathy, and I understand people who felt like we were, royally fucked, because it didn't feel like there actually was an opposition party to the fascist Republican Party, to the party that supports oligarchy and wants to fuck over every working class person. It did not feel like, because it's like they aren't. The Democratic Party did not feel like an opposition, because the leadership in the Democratic Party, they were just doing all of their political calculus about like, okay, I gotta pander to my donors. I have to make sure I don't piss off AIPAC. I have to make sure that all of the big lobbying groups, all the corporations are still going to give to my reelection campaigns. And they weren't thinking about the fact that like we're sliding into fascism, right? They were playing outdated games, and they weren't listening to the American people. And they didn't listen initially. Like, part of the reason that we are in the mess that we are in now is because working class people voted for Donald Trump. Working class people felt that Joe Biden, no matter how good we heard the economy was under him, they didn't feel that they had a good quality of life. They didn't feel that the American dream was accessible to them. And I know it's easy for us to really believe that every person who voted for Trump is like a diehard MAGA. We know that a minority of folks who voted for Trump are diehard MAGA. We know that millions and millions and millions of people voted for him because they wanted something different. They believed him when he said, I'm going to make America great for you. I'm going to make life better for you. And now they are finding out that that's absolutely not true, that he lied to them, that he hoodwinked them, and he's wrecking all of the things that they care about. And yet we don't see from corporate establishment Democrats an alternative. We don't see how they are differentiating themselves from Trump, from the Republicans, because they are serving the same oligarchy. They are also willing to fuck over the working class to prioritize the billionaires, right? Like, how are you different? What are you doing to persuade people that they should vote for you, that you will offer something substantively different that will improve their quality of life? They're not. They're showing over and over and over again that they're going to prioritize AIPAC. They're showing over and over and over again that they're going to prioritize their corporate donors, and also trying to silence and minimize the impact, the effectiveness of the progressives within the party. And so we see this tension where Democrats have this terrible, terrible approval rating. I think it's like 20-something% right now. And we still see the leadership in the party, including Ken Martin, doing all of the wrong things. And like, people are still listening to octogenarian James Carville, who said that this regime would fall apart in 30 days. We didn't have to do anything. People are still listening to him. So it's so frustrating. And I know that it felt really bleak to see that Democrats were failing to rise to the moment, and they were actively suppressing the members of the party who are still right now trying to rise to the moment, who are trying to be in opposition, who are trying to put forward progressive policies that will benefit working class people and offer that alternative to what the Trump regime is doing. And it just feels like the corporate Democrats controlling the party are determined to lose over and over again. And I know there are people who are saying this is the time to form a third party. That's not going to be viable on a national level in the United States in time for the midterms or 2028. It's just not. And I know I've been advocating, well, why don't we just have a Tea Party takeover of the Democratic Party? There's 100 members of the Progressive Caucus in Congress. This is a perfect moment in our history for the Democratic Party to evolve into a party that actually cares for the working class, but it's going to require cleaning house. And so when we look at the New York City mayoral primary, we have absolutely a reflection of what's happening on a national level, where we have the young, dynamic, much more socialist-leaning underdog who came in and overwhelmingly appealed to the voters. And once again, the corporate establishment Democrats, they do not have any conceptualization of what the people actually want. They really thought that Cuomo was going to win. They were willing to put millions and millions and millions of dollars behind him. Cuomo was being backed by Michael Bloomberg and Bill Clinton, all the same old powerful white dudes who do not understand the electorate at all. But they very much are going to protect their own. They're going to protect their own corporate interest and their own power and the people who are like them. And they're going to lose every time, because that's not what the voters want. And this is why I really want to emphasize, like, democracy still works. We still get to choose our leaders. The people are still the ones who are ultimately in charge of this country. The people ultimately have the power. Dan Pfeiffer, who is a former senior advisor to Barack Obama, tweeted about this election. What's happening in New York City is a blaringly loud message to those in the Dem establishment who still cling to old politics, recite focus group talking points, and who are too afraid to say what needs to be said. Donald Trump attempted fake populism, and that persuaded blue-collar conservative Americans to vote for him. The American voters actually have a significant appetite for populism at this moment in time. They're finding out that Trump tried to sell that to them and that he lied. He lied the entire time, that he only cares about the oligarchs and he only cares about exploiting regular people to benefit the super rich. Meanwhile, Republicans in the House and the Senate are trying to cram this big bloated bill down the throats of the American people. It's deeply unpopular, 2-to-1 opposition. A majority of Republicans oppose it, because Americans don't want the programs that we care about destroyed to line the pockets of the billionaires with more and more money. Americans do not want our debt ceiling increased trillions of dollars so that billionaires can get even more rich and we can all struggle harder. If we look at this moment in time, Mom Donnie understands what the people want. They want an America that works for working class people. Higher minimum wage, lower cost of living, good childcare, good health care. An America focused on the needs of the voters, on the needs of the people. And to me, what happened yesterday in that New York election says that there is a tremendous amount of hope for America. There is momentum that is building. The American people understand what we want. We are really starting to understand what kinds of candidates can help make America work for the working class, can help the American dream be accessible to us, the people. We're going through a crucible, but we're not cooked. This absolutely can be a turning point for us. I truly believe Mom Donnie's victory yesterday is a watershed moment for American democracy.